Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. And a bit ago, I received a comment under a video going over a Junji Ito story called The Bully, and this comment pretty much said, you should probably theorize about what the heck is going on in Junji Ito stories, also what the heck is wrong with the characters. I replied with that saying, noted, but I would want to do multiple characters. So that's what this video pretty much is. I will be going over one of Junji Ito's literally the most famous character he's ever came up with. But Tomie is his number one. She literally has a whole Hello Kitty collab. Like, come on. But anyway, in this video, I will be going over and giving my very professional psychological analyzation on Tomie herself, characterize some problems with her, and also go over some theories that I have of her. So if you like this idea, and if you want to see me do more, like and subscribe, and leave a character in the comments below that you would want me to go over. And for that being said, let's get into this video. Now, for those of you who are somehow probably unaware of who Tomie is, allow me to briefly explain. Tomie is a demon disguised as a woman who can clone herself from any part of her body, also including her blood. And if you get her DNA in you, then you also turn into her as well. She also has the supernatural ability to pretty much manipulate any man into doing her bidding and can drive them crazy if she wants them to. Also, she's a terrible person, like an absolute horrible person. And that actually brings me to our first topic of this video. Throughout my research, I have diagnosed, with my professional opinion, Tomie has a narcissistic personality disorder. Also, she's very antisocial. If you don't know what antisocial means, no, it doesn't mean that you stare off in your room all alone, avoiding everybody. That's being an introvert. Being antisocial is pretty much not liking or caring about anybody that is around you, even if they're related in any way, shape, or form. Now, in these type of videos, I want to point out a few examples of what I mean by those diagnoses. Let's start off with the narcissism. For this, we will be going over two specific stories. Tomie, the very first story in the book Tomie, and the story Photo. In Tomie, we get a flashback of when she first ever dies and before she becomes a complete nuisance to the entire world. But apparently, she was just being a nuisance to her classmates. Because we see that even before she dies, she was still a major narcissist. In this flashback, we see that she teases and plays with the teachers and even her own boyfriend and mocks everybody when she's confronted with her wrongdoings. I think this story, even though it's a pretty short story and it's very brief with the description that I gave of it, you can kind of see what I mean by the whole narcissist part. Like, how in the world are you going to be a terrible person before death, and when you die, you're even worse? Actually, now that I think about it, that makes perfect sense. Moving on to Photo. In Photo, we are introduced to a girl named Tsukiko, who captures photos of guys and sells them to her classmates because they have a crush on them. Till one day she captures a photo of Tomie, and it exposes her ugliness by showing that she has a growth out of the back of her head, and that growth out of the back of her head is another head. That's a lot of head. That was a lame joke. That was a lame joke. And the thing with Tomie is that she cares about her looks a lot. So when all those photos of her got out to everybody else, she was pissed that she literally manipulated two men with her supernatural ability to, control guys, and sends them after Tsukiko to kill her. This then turns into Tsukiko getting away with another guy. She's now in her apartment, and Tomie comes in, and then later on, these two other guys try to come after Tsukiko. But long story short, a head inside of the photos that grew off the top of her head appears. She asks them to get rid of it. They end up cutting her head off. And actually, something I want to mention that's actually quite funny about this whole situation. In the next chapter, right? In the next chapter, called Kiss, the two guys that cut her head off have her head in a bag. Then the guy that saved Tsukiko in the first place comes up to them and says, I want to see Tomie's face, unless I'll go insane. These two guys proceed to look at each other and beat the shit out of him. They literally beat this man. I find that so funny. Like, how are you gonna beat this guy? And all this started because of a bad photo. Just let that sink in. What? That's Diddy levels of narcissism, okay? That's beyond, that's That's like crazy levels of narcissist right there. Now let's talk about her ability to manipulate. Tomie's ability to manipulate people is so strong to where literally she destroys people's lives for the worst. Like in a story, Painter, this guy sculpts her body perfectly, but he's also driven insane. Like literally, like this is what the dude looked like before. This is what he looks like after Tomie. She's also ruined families as well. And I think this story does a very good job at showing her manipulative personality and also giving you a bit of insight on how strong her powers actually are. This chapter is called The Boy. A boy finds Tomie in a pool of her own blood in a cave at the beach one day. And Tomie treats him like a mother day after day. Till one day, the boy goes to see Tomie and all of a sudden she's running after him. The mom then comes up and takes the boy away from her. Throughout his entire time of seeing Tomie, the boy has become obsessed with her like many other men. So that obsession makes him grab scissors to then go kill her. But when he gets to her, he sees that she is kissing up and hugging up on another man. The boy then stabs him, and Tomie tells the boy, "You're trying to kill me, but you're gonna have to wait like another 10 years, because what the heck do I look like getting with a child?" Later that day, the family is together, and they have the boy tied down, because he wants to go see her very badly. Then Tomie appears outside, and is calling out to the boy like a mother. This makes the dad go out and talk to Tomie, but this completely fails. Then we find out that he was never seen again. Also, when the boy got older, he's a felon and was sentenced to execution. We don't know what happened to the mother. First things first, I don't feel your pain, kid, okay? I've been single for a while, so I don't really understand the whole thing of getting cheated on, but that's your own problem. One thing I will say about Tomie, though, out of everything that she has done, out of all the atrocities that she's caused this world and has caused misfortune on many other people, and just simply not caring or feeling or not feeling any empathy for it, one thing I will give her: she is not a predator. Maybe antisocial, maybe a narcissist, but not a pedophile. And I respect that. Now moving on to a story that I think sums up her narcissism and her manipulative personality very well. In the story called Painter, we follow an artist called Mori, who is at an opening of his own art exhibit called Nana, who is the model that he paints. Then he sees Tomie looking at one of his works, and he walks up to her and he asks his opinion on the work. Tomie then proceeds to say, "It's all right, but you can definitely tell that the woman is quite dim-witted," and then says he could probably use a change in models. Later on, Mori and Nana are in his studio. Then Tomie comes into the room all of a sudden laughing, and then proceeds to lie to Nana's face, saying that Mr. Mori said, "This Nana series is starting to bore me. I'm tired of drawing her because when you look at her closely, you can clearly tell that she is dim-witted." Even though she was the one that said that she was a dimwit. Massive liar. She lies about a lot of things. That's one piece of evidence in the story, of course, but we can literally move on to like what happens like right after the events of that. So with these remarks, Nana ends up leaving the studio, and then Tomie takes her place during that session. While Mr. Mori is drawing Tomie, they begin talking, and Tomie pretty much starts boasting herself up, saying he shouldn't expect to come across a girl of her caliber. Also telling him, "Do you really think you will ever come across a girl as beautiful as me?" I applaud the confidence, but in this context, this is not confidence. This is just pure ego talking here. So then later on, he finishes the painting, and he believes that he did an absolutely amazing job. She then comes up to see the painting and tells him, "Mr. Mori, you must be joking." She then laughs and tells him the painting matches a tenth of her beauty. And then she walks off, telling him, "I'm off to find a real artist." You know what? I don't blame these people for killing her. I'd be annoyed as shit. Like, you're gonna sit there and tell me that you can find better than me. I do this for a living. And then that obviously proceeds to go into the guy that I talked about earlier, who's also in this story. Like I said earlier, this story does a very good job at showing her narcissistic and her antisocial personality disorder. I think that's why it's like one of the more popular stories out of all of these other stories, because it just shows her character in every single way possible. She doesn't care about anybody. She loves herself way too much. She has a massive ego. She is willing to put down anybody just for the sake of it because she just does not care. And actually, another story that completely proves that she is indeed a narcissist, because it's literally directly said, is in the story called The Mansion. And pretty much in this story, we come across a person that calls himself her father. And her father tells Yukiko straight to her face, Tomie sees men as little more than adornments. Her only real interest is in herself. She only wants to be desired. All she wants is to also boost her ego. And she loves the idea of seeing how far she can push her ability with men. And that ability seems to be pushed very damn far, because the stuff that this girl gets into in the book, I only talked about not even half of the stories. I only talked about like 5 of them. There are 22 stories in this book, and every single one is just her committing massive atrocities against everybody. And that also goes into the lack of empathy. As I've clearly stated, she does not care about people in any way, shape, or form. And even when it comes to mentally and physically hurting people, she just does not care. She can tease, taunt, play, manipulate, mess with anybody she wants, and she will receive no consequence, because she knows deep down that she is just going to come back up somewhere else in the world and still do the same thing. And that also leads into the second half of this video. What exactly is Tomie? So I have a few theories on what exactly Tomie is. Originally, I thought Tomie was a succubus. So I'll pretty much save you the time from what I said here. I was talking about on how I thought she wasn't a succubus. But then I read the back of the book, and it says that she is indeed a succubus. So I was right. After reading a few of the stories, I think just overall she is a reincarnation of herself, because the devil did not want to deal with her. Very outrageous theory, but I actually think that's the case here, because if I was the devil, I would not want her down there. So what else is there to do other than to just send her back to Earth? This is a Junji Ito story we're talking about. Anything can happen. There could be man-eating planets falling out of the sky, for Christ's sake. So of course I'm going to come up with very outlandish theories about this. Another crazy outlandish theory that I have is that I think Tomie is being punished / tortured for her past actions. Like I said earlier, in the very first story that we get into in the manga, we see that originally she was a completely normal person. She was just a terrible person overall. But then she was killed and she was brought back. Why? Probably to be punished for her past actions. We don't know exactly what she was doing before she died. We only get like a small glimpse of what she was doing in that chapter. So we generally don't know what happened. She could have been doing way worse, and we just don't know. So when she was brought back, her being who she was before and being manipulative to men and just people in general could be the reason why she gets killed every single time, because she can feel that pain. She can feel the pain whenever she gets stabbed, whenever she gets cut open. She can feel that pain, and it happens all the time. And it's probably for her paying for her past actions. She also hates herself. Why do I say that she hates herself, even though I said that she's a narcissist? She hates her clones, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. She doesn't like her clones. And because she doesn't like her clones, she's probably caught in this constant cycle of a love-hate relationship with herself. Again, these are all theories. Do not take this seriously. So, overall, to end off this video, what exactly is wrong with Tomie? There's a lot of things wrong with Tomie. She is a narcissist. She also has an anti-personality disorder. She also deals with people trying to kill her 24/7. To sum it all up, she is just a straight monster that should not be roaming this earth, but unfortunately, there's probably a clone right outside your window. I'm not that easy to manipulate, so I think I'll be fine. With that being said, to wrap up this video, hope you enjoyed it. This is a very new concept. I want to do more videos like this. Obviously, these type of videos are going to get better because this is my first time actually doing this. It was actually a massive pain trying to organize and trying to get the information for this video. It could just be me overthinking things. But I would actually love to do more videos like this. And I think I'm going to, even if, you know, the video doesn't perform well. Like and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, and again, if you like this idea, leave a character in the comments below. It could be more than just a Junji Ito character. I'm open to do any character that you think that has psychological issues. And with that being said, say goodnight to Luffy. That's random. And yeah, bye. She's outside of my window, by the way.